What's going on, everybody? Bloodshed here. Today we're going to look at the MultiShot Demon Hunter build for patch 2.4.1, and we're going to go through the T10 speed build and Greater Rift farming build. Now, just to start off, nothing has really changed, right? The only thing that changed was our discipline bonus from the 6-piece set got buffed considerably. So it used to be 20% for the 6-piece set, now it's 40%. So it's literally like a double damage buff for that particular section. So it's really great. This is a great build overall for farming like Greater Rift 70 to 80, I'd say, consistently. You know, like you consistently have the damage output. What I like to do right away is to number lock Vengeance. That way you just set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about it. I do have a build on that as well. Obviously, you want to stay back to maximize Zaystone of Vengeance. If you can force move instead of tumble, that's also a great thing to do. When you force move, you get to obviously move, right? But you're not using tumble, so you're not using your discipline because your damage is affected by your max discipline. So you don't really want to use tumble unless you have to, unless it's like to get out of a situation or an explosion or something like that. So you can see the amount of damage is just crazy. Like you do so much damage. Just stay back. Obviously, proc, focus, and restraint. If you can keep that up the whole time, that's great as well. I can just swap specs pretty easily and not have to have 2 characters or 10 minutes to redo the build and make sure I get everything. So this is one of my favorite builds. It might make me roll Demon Hunter next season. So proc, focus, and restraint. Always be moving if you can, and just whittle enemies away. Not a problem. So your max discipline is really, really important, right? You can get that on both your weapons, so your main hand and your offhand quiver, and you can get it on your chest piece. And it rolls up to 12. I think it's 9 to 12 on all 3 items. So you want to get, the GG roll would be, 12 discipline and then really good, main stat rolls and everything like that on your gear. So it's super important to keep your discipline high. And you can just really chunk these mobs like not a big deal. I'm just talking to you guys, not even killing, and I'm still like, no problem with the dungeon, right? You just kite, get used to dodging things, and you'll be fine. Since we're talking about the gear, you want to really hit a benchmark. So you need at least 37% cooldown reduction. You can see my Vengeance is about to run out, and just as it runs out, it comes back off cooldown. So 37% is what I have. I have, 37.33. That's like the bare minimum you need for cooldown reduction to keep Vengeance up full time. So not only do you need the cooldown reduction, 37, you also need Dawn in the cube, right, to make that happen. And you want to stack crit damage. Obviously cooldown to 37. You want to stack area damage if you can squeeze it in somewhere. So crit damage, area damage are like the 3 best stats. You can see I have Cold a Week passive on my Hellfire Amulet, so you definitely want to use Hellfire Amulet with the build. This is my favorite Greater Rift setup. I'm obviously rocking the Stricken gem with Zays and Bane of the Trapped. And yeah, you can see a lot of these are non-ancient. This is just my PTR character. I was messing around with the different damage ratios and everything like that. So you can see the gear here, and definitely in the cube, I love the Dawn, the Vestige of Goons. For the Dark Heart rune gives you like 50% damage reduction, so it's amazing, right, for Greater Rifts. These are so squishy as a Demon Hunter. And then Convention of Elephants, yeah. Convention of Elephants is super strong, apparently. Yeah, you want to use this item. COE, boys. I like the raw damage output from the Witching Hour. It's just perfect for the build. So this is what the build looks like, right? You can see it's pretty standard, but this is really the best thing that's pretty much been out. These are the 4 main passives, right? Ballistics, Thrill the Hunt, Cold a Week, and Steady Aim. Only thing I would add is Ambush. I still like Ambush even in Greater Rifts. So I would add Ambush to your Hellfire Amulet. If you happen to get Cold a Week, like I have on my Hellfire Amulet, then obviously you can just swap it off here. So there you have it, a very solid Greater Rift build. I've been pretty much speedrunning 70s with the setup with no Kaldason's Despair or anything like that. It's a very good build overall. Farm gems and everything like that. I'll quickly go through the Paragon Points. Obviously you need 25% movement speed in total, no matter how you get it, and then the rest just dump it into main stat. For offense, you want to make sure you hit that cap we were talking about, the 37% CDR cap, and then you can focus on critical strike and then crit damage. For defense, I like all resist better, from like the ranged kind of elemental damage. But the top 2 would be armor and all resist in this category. For utility, resource cost reduction is probably the best, or RCR, right? and then area damage would be secondary, just because you want to be able to get as many multi-shots out as possible. So now that you're done running Greater Rifts, your clan wants you to run some T10, or they want to run some bounties or some goblin runs, and you're like, no problem, right? So then at this point, you throw on your Warzechian Armguards, you throw on your gold wrap, right? So you add those 2 items, that's all you have to add. You go over here to the jeweler, take off your Stricken gem, because we don't need a Stricken gem for Rift bosses anymore, right? And you can throw on Bane of the Powerful. I like to use Boon of the Hoarder. It synergizes obviously with gold wrap, but you can also swap out Bane of the Powerful with Bane of the Trap. But it's a very quick and easy switch. You literally bing bing, throw in the gem, and you're good to go. If you want to make farming even a little bit better and take it a step further, you can. From there you can switch out, say, steady aim for tactical advantage, right? Because ambush is amazing for this kind of speed farm, right? Because it's going to just really chunk the enemy's health, when especially if they're like just normal mobs, normal T10 mobs. Tactical advantage is great. You get like a movement speed bonus for 2 seconds, so you can swap that in there to kind of take it a step further, like we were saying. And then in Kanai's cube, you can swap out Visage Dragoons for Cindercoat. Cindercoat's going to allow you to even spam more, because we're going to be constantly spamming, flipping, spamming, flipping, spamming. That's pretty much what the T10 build is going to look like. So I'm in T10 right now. I'll just jump into the Halls of Agony and kind of give you an example. So like we were saying, obviously you want to buff up, and if you numb lock Vengeance, it's a little bit easier. So you want to flip, wait 2 seconds before you flip again to kind of maximize the speed bonus. I mean, and even at point blank range with Zay's Stone of Vengeance, things just get annihilated, right? It's just getting completely blasted on. It's one of the fastest farm builds in the game. It's one of the funnest also, because you get to totally annihilate goblin packs, goblin rifts. I mean, AoE, clear, anything. I mean, does this look like T10? You know, it's a really strong build. Definitely one of my top favorites, just for getting around, speed farming, doing whatever, and not having to log into a different character. You know, I could easily swap it around, and it makes your life a lot easier until they add, if they potentially add, you know, armor switching, gear switching in the game. But yeah, I've been running this on the PTR, and I get questions, and I wanted to have a video that people can reference to. Obviously, everything's going to be in the description down below, so you're going to be able to see kind of a link to the build, the gems, and everything will be on text form, right? Written word for you guys to check it out. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a little bit about the multi-shot build. I have some kind of freaky double wing buff glitch right now on the PTR. It looks kind of cool, right? So one last tip I wanted to talk about before these wings trip out and disconnect us or something. Vengeance breaks crowd control. You should have Vengeance up the entire time, so you'll never be crowd controlled pretty much. And if you are trying to port out, like if you're running bounties or goblin runs, you know, they're throwing spears at you, trying to stop you from, you know, porting to the next area, you can't be stopped with Vengeance. So when you use Town Portal, it's amazing, right? Nobody can stop you unless they kill you. So another little small tip, I guess, with Vengeance, something to keep in the back of your mind. Alright guys, I think that just wraps it up for this video. If you have any questions, put it in the comments below. If anything changes in the PTR, I'll keep you guys updated. You know, if they nerf the set down to 30% damage instead of 40, it should be really, really strong, especially for T10, Greater Rift 70, and such like that. I think it's a great starter build, and then eventually you can move on to an LON build, or you can move on to the Shadow Marauder set. So we might get it with Hadrig's Gift right away when the season starts, and then this will be a good build for everybody, just to kind of right out the gate get started on the right way. Anyways guys, I'm gonna keep rambling on. This is Bloodshed, and I'm out. Peace.